you want. Yes, you can. Hi, everyone. I am Katie Clark. I am so excited to be here. I've been looking forward to my session all week, and I have loved connecting with a lot of you in my booth. You've all had such great questions. As I've shared in there, I'm very passionate about breastfeeding, and I love helping new moms or moms that have struggled to breastfeed in the past meet their goals, because I think it is so important for moms to feel supported and to have all the information that they need in order to be successful. And I love, sorry about that. I believe that, breastfeeding looks different for all moms, and I am here to make it so you can find a way that it works for you. So today I'm going to be talking about some secrets to breastfeeding success. I'm going to try and talk fast, but afterwards I will pop on over to my booth and we can talk a little bit more there. I just posted a link to my website with a coupon code, and in the Facebook group later, I'm going to be posting a lot more fun resources, some freebies I'm going to give you, and also my Facebook group that I run. As in case you don't know, I'm a certified lactation educator, and I am training to be an IBCLC. I'm also training to get my certified breastfeeding specialist certificate, which will allow me to give a little bit more support and consults. So I'll be offering online consults later this year. But I'm going to go ahead and start with 3 secrets. These are pretty broad secrets, but they're things that I think are so important. The first one is education. Obviously, I sell a breastfeeding course, but I am huge on the importance of education. When a mom asks me what she needs to do in order to prepare to breastfeed, the number one thing I say is prepare yourself with as much education as you can from good sources, because there's a lot of bad information out there. And take a class if you can. But read books, read articles. I provide a lot of free articles on both of my websites, Clark's Condensed and The Breastfeeding Mama, and on my Instagram and TikTok accounts. But there's so much information out there. I love websites like the Milk Meg and Kelly Mom. They give a lot of really good research-based information, because you can read all the books you want and things can still go wrong. But if you know what to do when things are hard or they go wrong, it makes a world of difference, rather than just feeling like you're floundering, not knowing where to go. So my number one secret is education. My second is support. I started a Facebook support group on breastfeeding support group in 2016, because I saw that so many moms were struggling to breastfeed and they just needed support. And it made me really sad, because I struggled to breastfeed with my second. We had a lot of problems, but I had a lot of support, and I saw what a huge difference it made. And when I started this group, I realized how many moms don't have support. So I would recommend finding support, whether it's online, like a local breastfeeding group like La Leche League, a local baby cafe. There's so many great support groups out there, and finding one that you can go to, moms that you can turn to, professionals that you can turn to, makes a world of difference. Finding a good lactation consultant that you can have on call in case you have problems is really important as well. A lot of people don't think about getting a lactation consultant until after their baby's born, when they're in the midst of problems and troubles. So finding one before you give birth that you can call is awesome. Sometimes most hospitals do have lactation support. It can depend on the hospital how good it is or what kind of lactation support they are offering. And then finally, listening to your intuition. I am a huge believer in mother's intuition. I feel like it can really lead you astray. And when it comes with breastfeeding or anything mother related, when you are able to listen to your intuition, I feel like it can never lead you astray. I mean, I should never say never, but rarely lead you astray. So, make things work for you. I'm big on making breastfeeding work for you and your family. I can give you all the resources and all the tips out there, but in the end, it comes down to you connecting with your baby and understanding their needs, and realizing that they're a brand new baby. They just came from a place where they knew no hunger. They were so warm and cozy, and they're in this big, bright world. So trying to get to know your baby and trying to read their cues and listening more to what they need rather than what, the textbook says, is really important. And now here's some more actionable tips. These are things that you can do right after your baby is born that I think can set you up for a successful breastfeeding relationship. Sometimes things don't go as planned, and that's okay. Sometimes you might not be able to be with your baby right away, and I don't want you to think, oh, I can't breastfeed if, we had to be separated. That is not true. at all, and you can be very successful. Many moms are able to breastfeed when their baby's in the NICU or when they've been separated for a long time. But these things are helpful if you have a typical birth. And sometimes even if you don't, you can make these things work as well. So first is the golden hour. This is the first hour after giving birth. It is suggested that your baby is put directly on your chest right after they're born, that the cord is cut after it stops pulsing, but you have your baby right there. And doing the golden hour is so amazing. That skin to skin is a great way for your baby to adjust to the outside world, and it allows them to latch naturally. I'm a big believer in allowing your baby to lead latching rather than, being like, okay, let me put you to the breast now that you're born. You should look up something called the breast crawl. It's really cool. Newborn babies are so smart, and they can self-latch themselves a lot. So when you put them on your chest, they can, right after birth, they start to kind of root around and want to start to nurse. And it's a really cool experience. And the golden hour is also great for regulating their blood sugar and their temperature. And it just allows them to feel nice and comfortable. And you can delay, having them wait and getting their shots and all of that until after that first hour. And that's what the AAP suggests. And it's really important to allow for that if possible. And again, like I said, sometimes it's not always possible, but it is an awesome thing if you can make it, if you can allow it to happen, and to tell your care provider you want that to happen. And it is suggested that you allow your baby to nurse or latch before any of those interventions, like shots and weighing them and all that fun stuff, which is very important. But that first hour should be about you and your baby. Second is skin to skin. So I already talked a lot about skin to skin with the golden hour, but it's so awesome beyond that first hour. I pretty much live with my baby on my chest during the first couple weeks of their life, and it just allows them to have unrestrained access to the breast and feel like they're able to get to the breast. So one thing that's really cool is that the glands around your nipple, they excrete they kind of smell like amniotic fluid, so your baby's naturally attracted to them. So when you are so close to them, it allows them to kind of be like, oh, I want to nurse. I'm going to nurse right away. And it's a really cool thing to be able to do that skin to skin. And skin to skin is something that your partner can do as well. So even if for some reason you are separated, your partner, you can have them do skin to skin, and it can have a lot of the same benefits. Obviously, they're not going to be able to nurse on your partner, but it can help them feel like adjust to the outside world a lot more. And I often find that skin to skin kind of resets my babies a little bit, and it's a really, I don't know, I feel like whenever they're like having a hard time latching or they're freaking out or anything like that, if I just do skin to skin, it kind of has them kind of like, okay, I'm going to reset, and things get a little bit better. And that's another thing. If your baby's having a hard time latching, just take a step back for a second and let everyone take a breather, because you can always go back and try again. Second is latch frequently. Don't worry about schedules in the beginning. Just let your baby latch as frequently as they can. Look for the, signs of dehydration to make sure that they aren't, getting dehydrated, but letting them latch frequently is really important. And cluster feeding is normal. And, just letting them kind of lead the way and show you when they're hungry, and letting them latch when they want is really important. And then know the early signs of hunger. So crying is a late stage hunger sign. And a lot of people think of it, oh, when they're crying, that's when they're hungry. They're actually, you can tell when they're hungry before that. And I also recommend not trying to discern in the beginning between comfort nursing and hunger nursing. It's all important. It's all great. And it's all important for your supply and for your baby to be able to nurse on demand and regularly. So try not to be like, oh, they're using me as a pacifier. I know it is exhausting. It's so exhausting. But sometimes they're hungry. Sometimes they want to nurse, but you should just let them nurse. Stop watching the clock, and their time for schedules and everything will come. But just allowing them to nurse on demand and frequently is really important. But some of the early hunger signs are bringing their hand to their mouth, kind of chewing on their hands, smacking their lips, turning their voice towards your voice, or turning their head towards your voice, moving their legs and arms around. Those are just a couple of things to look for. But my philosophy is, when in doubt, whip it out, because you really can't overfeed them when you're breastfeeding. So those are some of my best tips for success. I go over a lot more in my courses. If you've been in my booth, I've talked about them a little bit, but I have the complete breastfeeding course, which covers pregnancy, giving birth, right after birth, going home, problems you might encounter, and milk supply and pumping. And that class is $39.99, but I also offer a $69.99 one, which includes a private Facebook group with me where you get, weekly office hours. You can get more access to me directly. And it also includes a few other awesome things like a workbook, a recipe book, printables, all sorts of fun things like that. But the $39.99 one is awesome too. It includes the workbook, and it has video, it has text, it has everything that you need. It's for all types of learning. And then we also have an ebook version of that. If you just want to read it, we have an ebook that's less expensive as well. And then we have our mini classes, which are on pumping and milk supply, troubleshooting breastfeeding, and then also breastfeeding essentials. So if you just want the basics, breastfeeding essentials is for you. If you're like, I just want to know, what I need to know, like not all the extra stuff, that one's going to be a great one. And those classes are between $14.99 and $24.99, but you can get them for 20% off with the code PREGO20. There's my little buddy. He's my second. Can you say hi? Hi. He's a good boy. And then we also have our meal plans. Our meal plan that is a 28-day breastfeeding, specifically designed for breastfeeding moms, with lots of yummy recipes, easy recipes, and just to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You silly. Let me think. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize all of these questions coming through. I was on the backstage thing. So let me look at this and make sure I'm answering these. The links you shared. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I was like, why is nobody commenting? And it was because I was on the wrong thing. So let me try and get through these really fast before. Oh, there's so many great questions. I'm so excited. I'm sorry for all of you that were asking questions. I will go over to my booth as well if I don't get to your question, but I will try and respond to these as much as possible. I'm so excited for all your enthusiasm for breastfeeding, though. I love breastfeeding. It's so important. And okay, let's see. I can't wait. So let me just start. I want to be an IBCLC, Jessica. That's awesome. We always need more IBCLCs. Let's see. I struggled with my first, and you want to be successful. I think that you are in the right place to be successful. And if you have any concerns, Naomi, let me know. I'd love to talk with you through them. Anything. One thing I will be offering are prenatal consults. So if people had trouble in the past or they just want to make a plan, I will be offering those in the near future. But you can message me and I might be able to work something out sooner before I have them actually offered. Are they recognizing IGT as more common now? Yes. I think it's between 2 to 5% have IGT, which is insufficient glandular tissue. And so it doesn't affect a ton of moms, but enough that it is concerning for moms. And that's where you don't have enough mammary or glandular tissue. And that's usually from puberty or during pregnancy, you just have the lack of that growth. And it doesn't have to do with the size of your breast, but it's just the glandular tissue. Some things you can do for that. I would work with an IBCLC, but some people have luck with Goatsrue. I have some resources. If you send me an email later, I'll send you some more resources, but I have some good articles on my blog about improving supply that might be helpful. Breastfeeding giving you anxiety. I'm so sorry it's giving you anxiety. I know it can be, the unknown is so stressful, and I totally understand that, and I hope that all of you out there that are stressed out, that it can be hard. I'm not going to lie. It can be difficult. But with the right resources, you can be successful and you can meet your goals. Let's see. I'm hoping to breastfeed. Why does hand expressing work better? Just because I think a lot of it is because of the skin to skin, that your hand helps a lot with the hand expression. And I just think that our bodies are more designed for hand expression because it's more natural. And so it can often respond to that better. Never thought of virtual support. Yeah, it's a new thing, but I am so passionate about giving virtual support to people. I wouldn't have made it through my breastfeeding journey without the lactation specialists. Yeah, they can be so amazing. I have had some amazing lactation specialists. Andy, I do have a Facebook support group. So for sure, I'm going to post that in the Facebook group so you guys can all join it later. Let's see, I had a C-section. I didn't get a hold of my baby. Felt like forever. We've been successful with nursing. I love that story that you were able to be successful still. C-sections, people worry about that, but you can be very successful with breastfeeding and C-sections as well. skin to skin. I love skin to skin as well. My baby had to go right to the NICU. They were very supportive. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that because it can make such a big difference. Flat and inverted nipples, I do talk about it in my course. I won't go into it right now, but if you come to my booth afterwards and ask that question again, I will talk more about that. I'm just trying to go through these because I only have 5 minutes left. Will the baby be feed both from breast and bottle? That is possible. Many moms are able to do that. I do talk about that a lot in my courses. Pace feeding, how much to feed, how to make sure your baby doesn't get nipple preference and whatnot, but it is possible. I feel much more prepared. I think that's awesome. I think people, one thing I will want you to take away is that if you're having trouble, don't be afraid to ask for help because there are people willing to help you and you should never struggle in silence. Comfort nursing, some people call that when they just want to nurse just because they want to be close to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Babies just want to be close by to their mamas. And nursing offers them a lot of support. So some people call that comfort nursing when they're not necessarily nursing because they're hungry, but just because they want to be close to you. Let's see. I was worried about just letting them pacify. You know what? I say just let them nurse if they want to. There's nothing wrong. You can't spoil your baby, and there's nothing wrong with them nursing. Whip it out. I need to make a shirt that says that. So when in doubt, whip it out. You're being so silly, buddy, aren't you? So my booth is the Breastfeeding Mama. So you can go find it afterwards. Great pricing and support. I have seen some that are very expensive. I really, really want to make these courses affordable for moms because I think that everyone deserves affordable breastfeeding support. I struggled with my first and I want to be prepared with your twins. So exciting. The 69 course is everything and the private Facebook group. Yes. One-time fee, you get it forever. Anything that I add, I will be adding information in the future about nursing an older child, and that will be included. And I might increase the price with that. But if you sign up now, you will get all that information because I get so many questions about breastfeeding an older child and those challenges. I'm sorry, I'm talking so fast. I know it's so fast. Really good prices. This information is important. I exclusively pumped. That's awesome. I think it's super awesome. Pumping is a hard, but it is amazing when I am so in awe of moms that exclusively pump. Yes, my son is very cute. What booth? I am in the Breastfeeding Mama. What do I do? Do I need to pump there? Nope. You don't need to pump unless your baby is not latching or you're unable to breastfeed for some reason. I can talk more about that in my booth though. What medications interfere with breastfeeding? Most medications you can use while breastfeeding. I can tell you more information about that in my booth. LactMed and MommyMed is are good resources though. Breastfed my son for 18 months. Do you have any tips for suggestions for breastfeeding with larger breasts? Yes. So I'll talk about that more. Sorry. I will come over to my booth and I will give you some more information. Should I pump as well? I will talk about pumping as well in my booth. Come over and talk to me. We'll talk about that. How will I know if I don't produce milk? So you can't tell while you're pregnant if you're going to produce milk or not. That's not something that you can really tell either way. I leaked with my first and not with my second or third. I breastfed them all. So it's most of the time, like you can see if you have IGT, there are some signs of that. Like your breasts are spaced farther apart. They're tubular. You had lack of growth while pregnant. But most women are able to produce milk. Would you recommend taking a class before baby? Yes, I would definitely take a class before the baby is born so you know what's going to happen. What do you think about products that claim to improve milk supply? I'm not a big fan. I think that the best thing you can do is stimulate the breast, and I think that those often add calories. And some of them do have products that are like galactologues in them, but I don't think that they are the first thing you should turn to. Tuning in from Colorado. I'm in Colorado, so yay! I want to make a Colorado support group for local moms. C-section 6 weeks ago. That's awesome. Flat nipples. Hoping I have a great breastfeeding experience. Oh, I'm so sorry that I love all these questions. So the code is PREGO20 to get 20% off. What bottle would you recommend to mimic the breast? There's so many great ones. I have an article in my blog, Clark's Condensed, and I will post that, a link to all of those in the Facebook group for this expo. But I like Dr. Brown's, but there's a couple different options that are really good. Can you breastfeed on medication? Yes, most of the time you can breastfeed with most medications, or there is an alternative. There are very few medications that you can't breastfeed with. My son was a preemie and you didn't get the golden hour. I'm so glad you were still successfully able to breastfeed. The code will work until September, but if you message me, I will give you the code later too. if you sign up now, you will get all the information. It never goes away. Forever access to the course. I can't wait to talk to you guys. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Can I pump milk while breastfeeding? Yes, you can. I will talk about that as well. I'm hungry with breastfeeding. Yes, breastfeeding does make you hungry. Yes, I will put all the links in the booth and on the Facebook group. I will post everything everywhere. But so I need to get off here, but I am going to go over to my booth, the Breastfeeding Mama. If you have questions that weren't answered, come over there. I will be there as long as you need me to be there, and I would love to answer your questions. So thank you so much for having me here. And so my website is thebreastfeedingmama.com, and also clarkscondensed.com has a ton of breastfeeding information that I have written. But I will post those all. And I have been so grateful for all of you, and I'm so excited to talk to you more. And I would love for you to join my classes and keep me in mind for support in the future when I am offering virtual consults. So I will talk to you all later. I will be over in my booth, and come and answer. There's so many great questions here. So come and meet me over there. Thank you, everybody.